Meanwhile, DeSantis continues to face attacks from some in his own party for his campaign against Disney. This is what former Trump advisor Kellyanne Conway had to say yesterday.
But he's wasted 5.5 months. I think we're going to look back at the period of time between November and May, 6 months, Larry, and say, what in the world happened? DeSantis and Trump flipped places within the polls. He spends way too much time on the culture wars, and that begins with Disney, but it includes many other things. Woke is important, but you can't have that as a replacement for a bold, growth-centric economic plan.
Illinois Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker says that the culture wars are the reason why conservative school board candidates lost their elections this month in his state. Pritzker told reporters that when the candidates focused on woke culture, Illinois voters, quote, saw through the hidden extremists who were running for school board across Chicago, the Chicago suburbs especially. And Governor Pritzker joins us now. We'll start there, but we've got a lot to talk to you about. But if you could talk more about what's happening locally in terms of the extremes that are taking place in local governments and what the voters are saying.
Well, we had anti-LGBTQ, anti-Muslim organizations putting up candidates that were, against parents. They were against students, against teachers, wanting to ban books. Those candidates were put up for elections, and it was important to shine a light on them and make sure that the voters knew, because, these local elections, sometimes people don't know exactly who they're voting for. There's not enough information. So we wanted to make sure that people knew. And when they found out, they rejected these candidates. I mean, these are extreme candidates, and it's happening all over the country. But we saw it happening here in Illinois, and we defeated them.
Well, Governor, it's fascinating that we're seeing it all over the country. We're seeing it in places like Kansas. We're seeing it in places like Wisconsin. What's so fascinating is Republicans have so effectively used culture wars over the past 20 years, but it really is, I think we're coming to a point where sort of the law of diminishing returns is coming in, and it's actually starting to work against them. Abortion working against them. Extreme position on guns working against them. This single-minded obsession on trans athletes and on drag queen shows or something like that. I mean, I don't want to break it to them. They're acting like this is new and culture is going. Like, I kind of remember like the Rocky Horror picture show. I remember all of this stuff in 1970s culture 50 years ago. So this whole idea that this started somewhere last month is, again, it just people are looking at it like, come on, guys, get serious here.
Look, Joe, you've got it exactly right. At the heart of it, and I think this is why voters are rejecting it, at the heart of all of these positions is this fundamental cruelty, focusing on attacking children who are LGBTQ or teachers that are LGBTQ, or taking on people who are, not white, banning, black history from our schools, making sure that certain texts aren't available to people. They want to rewrite history. There's a cruelty to it all. And I think that voters see that and they're showing up and rejecting it.
Governor Pritzker, good morning. Reporting this morning that President Biden could announce as soon as next week that he is running for re-election, as has been widely expected. And you've been talking to him because he's part of the process that has given Chicago, in your state, the Democratic National Convention next year. So we want to get your response about President Biden being the man for the job for the next 4 years, but also what do you hope to showcase in Chicago when we'll have the eyes of the world on it?
Well, let me start by just saying that, we have a great global city here in the heart of the nation. It was the right thing to pick Chicago. We have a blue wall that we've got to protect in the Midwest. Gretchen Whitmer getting reelected, Tim Walz, Tony Evers, me, Andy Beshear. This blue wall here in the Midwest is something that the Democrats rely on in order to elect and reelect Joe Biden and anybody to the presidency. So the recognition of that was very, very important. I should also say that, anybody who's spent a summer, any time during the summer in Chicago knows how beautiful it is. And so we're very proud to be able to host it. Now, the Biden-Harris ticket is, so important for the future of the nation. Remember that just in 2 years, President Biden has gotten so much done. And that's hard to do in a 50-50 world where you need to get votes maybe on the other side of the aisle. And he's been able to do that. And think about the CHIPS Act and the IRA and the infrastructure bill. All of that is helping to rebuild our nation. We're bringing manufacturing back to the Midwest and back to the United States. We're making sure that we're building new roads and bridges and waterports and airports. And that's thanks to the work that Joe Biden did. And then the last thing I want to say, because I think this is important, and I mentioned earlier about the cruelty of people on the right, that Joe Biden exudes empathy. He is somebody, really more than anybody that I can think of in my lifetime that's held the office. This is somebody who walks around and wears his heart on his sleeve. He cares about people. And I think that matters to the American people.
Governor, you've got a new mayor to work with in Chicago, in Brandon Johnson. I'm wondering what his biggest challenges are going to be and how maybe the two of you can work together to try to solve them.
Well, we're already working together. He's come to Springfield to talk with the legislature and to me about the things that are necessary to lift Chicagoans up. He's focused on something that I'm focused on, too, which is lifting up people who've been left out and left behind. We have neighborhoods in Chicago that have been disinvested from. He ran a campaign that focused on that, and he won because, in my opinion, because he addressed that. I also want to say that, this is a world where people recognize kind of genuineness, authenticity matters. And Brandon Johnson just seems to be, he is who he is. You can see it. You can feel him. He's the son of a preacher. He has kids, a family. He lives in Austin, not the easiest neighborhood to live in. There's public safety issues in that neighborhood. So he kind of represents the challenges and the opportunity for Chicago.
Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, thank you so much for coming on the show this Friday morning. We appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Mika.